This is my 2014 Victory Cross Country Tour. Today, we're going to change the oil. Victory recommends when you change the oil to do it at operating temperature. Now, how do you think we're going to do that? There, that ought to do it. Now we're going to do most of the work with the bike on its side stand. Normally the bike would be sitting directly on the floor and I change the oil that way. But today I had to put 2 blocks of wood under each wheel and the side stand in order to raise it up about 3 inches just to get the camera underneath the bike. That's the only reason for this video. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is remove the dipstick. Be careful, the pipes are hot. So I'm on the left-hand side of the bike right now. This right here is your oil filter at the back of the engine. Over here is a flush-mounted bolt, and this is your oil drain plug. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to crack these open, both of them. I'm just going to crack them open enough for me to be able to undo them by hand, so once I put my drain pan underneath it. Now for the oil filter, there's various types of ways you can remove it. This here is a oil filter cap wrench. It just fits on top. You put your ratchet inside and you can undo it that way. Others have this little strap wrench, metal oil filter wrench. The K&N filters have a nut welded on the end. You can use it. Whatever it has to be, it's not going to be very tight. So I'm just going to loosen it enough for me to be able to undo it by hand. Another thing before you start is to make sure your ratchet is turning the right way. We want to loosen the drain bolt, and it of course has to turn left. Now you're going to be upside down, lying underneath it. The ratchet is upside down. You want to make sure you're turning it the right way. So hold it with your hand, turn your ratchet, and make sure that it's turning left, counterclockwise. That way you're sure that when you put it in, you're going to be able to undo this bolt. This is a 6mm hex head socket on here, and I'm just going to crack it open. And I'm going to do the same with the oil filter. I'm going to slide my oil pail underneath the engine so it covers both the filter and the drain plug. I'm going to use my socket on the drain bolt, and I'm going to open it that way. Remember, everything is still hot. And now comes the real fun part. What kind of oil do you use? What kind of oil filter do you use? This is going to be a subject that is going to be debated till the end of time. Everyone's going to tell you their favorite and why you should use it and why you shouldn't use other oils. You know what? You're going to have to decide on your own. What is important is that it meets the specifications. The specifications for Victory oil is that it meets JSO-MA, the Japanese Automotive Standards Organization. MA is for motorcycles. These ones have the JSO-MA on the back. These ones don't. I'm not going to use them in my bike. I just drained out the T6 oil. It was okay, but I'm going to try others. So today I'm going to use the Shell Rotella T Triple Protection. It meets the specifications, and I've never used it before, so I'm going to try it. The filter, I bought a Wix filter model 51356. I do that because it's readily available, it's inexpensive, and that's just the filter I chose. Another thing people will tell you is, do you need to replace the crush washer? Well, Again, you're going to get a lot of people telling you different things. You're going to hear one guy tell you, I've used the same crush washer for 10 years and never had a problem. You know, I got a bag of crush washers here. I picked it up for just a few dollars. For me, just replace the crush washer. It's a lot easier and you don't have to worry about it. But if you're stuck, use the same one. It should be fine. This is my original bolt for the engine oil drain bolt. I picked up a new one. This one has a magnet on the end. I figured if I'm going to be changing the oil, I might as well change the drain plug, put a magnet on it. It could help, I don't know. And it even comes with a crush washer. One thing I like to do with my oil filters is preload it with oil. I pour in the oil till it just comes up over the top, and then it'll eventually soak itself back in. And then what I do is I take some oil, and you have to wipe around the rubber ring. This is very important. If you don't do this, you're going to ruin the filter. Back underneath the bike, I'm going to slide over my oil catch pan, and I'm going to wipe around the oil filter area. I'm going to take my filter. Remember, oil the outside ring and put it on. Spin it on until it touches, just until it touches, and then give it about another 3/4 turn. How I do it is I just use my hands as tight as I can with one hand. Do not use a wrench on this. It doesn't have to be on very tight. So I'm just going to turn this about as tight as I can with one hand. And that's all you need. I'm going to do the same thing with the drain bolt area. I'm going to wipe it down with my rag, and I'm going to install my magnetic drain plug with a new crush washer. Turn it all the way in until it seats. This way you know it's not going to be cross-threaded. You're not using a wrench at this time, you're just doing it by hand. Now I'm going to use a torque wrench to tighten down the oil drain bolt. It needs to be at 15 foot-pounds. I've got a digital wrench here, 15 foot-pounds dialed in, and I'm going to tighten it down. This is my 6mm hex head socket, and remember, try it again, make sure you're turning the right way. It should turn clockwise. I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to go until it reaches the proper torque, and it's not going to be very much. Done. 15 foot-pounds. So since we're finished working underneath the bike, I've lowered it back down to the ground. I also put my scissor jack underneath it to bring the bike up nice and level. I just like doing it this way because I'm going to fill up the oil now, and I just like checking the level when the bike is standing straight up and down. You don't have to do it that way. If you don't have a jack or you just want to do it a different way, you can check out my other video on how to check the oil level on your bikes that have various ways of doing it. The manual says when you drain the oil and replace the oil filter, you should replace it with about 4.5 quarts or 4 liters of oil. This one is 1 gallon, 3.785 liters, so technically I should be able to pour in this entire jug of oil and even add a little bit more. What I like to do is I put in about 3/4, a little more than 3/4 of it, then I will run the motor, get the oil through the system, through the filter, then I'll stop it, let it sit for a minute or two, and then check the level. And I'll top it up as necessary until it's at the proper level. Okay, I'm going to start up the bike. I'm going to let the oil circulate through the engine. Don't forget, put your filler dipstick in first or else oil is going to spray out everywhere. Start it up, let it run 20-30 seconds, shut it down, let it sit for a couple of minutes, check your level, top up if necessary. Well, there it is, fresh oil installed, ready for another ride. For the next day, keep an eye on the level, check for any leaks. But if you tightened everything down right, you shouldn't have any. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Thanks very much everyone for being with me again on these videos. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to see more videos, hit that big red subscribe button down below and give that like button a click too. Thank you very much. Ride safe and have fun.